Oh, almost forgot to turn the light on. Oh, again, I took a nap. I'm going to talk a little bit about the media. And there's an old saying, whoever controls the media controls the mind. That was a Jim Morrison, right? That was his saying. And I find it very interesting. And now I understand why there was a question I was watching one of those Illuminati movies, or not movies but lectures. I can't remember what it was. But it was something with Illuminati. And they were like, why do they let them know some stuff? Like, it's just like if, like, example, like me dealing with the police department, it's like they harass so much, they're such bullies, but they play games. But anyway, like if you say something like, oh, they, fuck up my phone service where I don't get my phone calls, right? They'll do it more often. So that's why because that question there, that is why you do give them some information. But see, some information is never enough information to make you ignorant. Well, like, I know my hair looks dry, but I was thinking, like, also, like, with my hair like this, that, like, since, like, the people around are, like, they're sort of ashamed of their hair, like, oh no, I'm ugly, my hair. But I guess, but I find that in both races. You're like, none of the other guys would holler at me. But I know, like, when I do go out, like, my hair's freshly washed and everything, this is like, I've been messing with it, and I'm going to start braiding it back again. But I had got a little bit too hot to do the greenhouse effect with the hair. It gives it, well, plus I have to comb it too. I only comb it when it's wet, but I got a little too hot the other day when it was a little hot with the greenhouse, so you got to be careful about that. So I might slow down and not do it as often, but still wash my hair. Like, I still wash my hair every 3 days anyway. It's probably a little bit too much, but once I did that treatment and combed it all out with the lice comb. But I don't know. It still got plenty of curls. But I was like, there's got to be a detour, because like they're so funny about their hair, but they don't care. That's another question. What are they mutating to? Reptile. Anyway. And there's just some, like, I just can't listen to Fox. And the worst thing about it, I liked Red Eye when they had that, what was his, Greg, I can't think of his name right now on there. Griffin? Greg. Anyway, whoever he was, but he's no longer there. And I was trying to catch Sharab, but they do it 2 weeks late. But anyway, the only reason why I don't like, I didn't like Ford is because, first of all, they come out so hostile. They're like yelling at you, and it's like they keep like they want to make you agree with them. It's like, so I didn't like the news anyway. I'm not that crazy about how the TVs turned out. The people that are owning the major media corporations are just having their own agenda, and it's not the best for the citizens of America. And our infrastructure here in Memphis is falling apart. We have a psychotic police department. We have a school system that is financially strapped. They have a majority of their high school kids prison bound from the early age elementary school. They're putting the worst thing that we do now is what they call double binding hypocrite. Double binding. It's a double binding hypocrite, and like it's like that. Like it's like when you tell your kid, "Don't have sex," don't ever have sex, and dad's jerking off in the back room on the internet looking at XX rated stuff, or or so like they say one thing to the child, but the child sees their folks doing something else, and that's a very powerful control. The same way with like making certain things taboo, and sort of like what happened with alcohol and prohibition. It's these things they know that if they tell you, hey, you're not allowed to do this, you don't have no rights to even want to do that. If you do that, we will take away all your rights, and you will understand you don't have no rights. So and then we're having where the media we have lost the whole concept of what America was made under for freedoms of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of privacy. All these freedoms in our constitutional rights is being taken away from us, and of course we know that. It was just like today when I went for my walk, I stopped by this one old gentleman that's helped me go to the grocery store. So I guess things are going to have to change dramatically because everybody I know is getting up there. Anyway, not so healthy. But anyway, he got sick. He's on a breathing machine. So I think he got bronchial. I don't know what he has. There's a lot of stigma with oppressed people, not only with your hair, with your health, and a lot of the situation is something that, like I know, like some Indians I know that when they had been in with the missionaries. I know some other South America with missionaries. Well, the first they were all sexually and physically abused, taken away from their parents, like at the ages like 6 and 7. They like to get them young and put in those border schools where they were sexually, physically abused. So that and I'm talking that also happened with American Indians here in America. So that we have a history where our school systems have been used in such a way to destroy the child in some cases, emotionally and mentally, like in the cases where with the American Indians and them taking their kids away from them. So that's why, that's why when they have a kid that young, like this has always been their way. There's no way to change it, right? Because they're so young, they had never seen another way. So to them, yeah, it's always been like that. It's all, it might not always been like that up until 3 or 4 years. But if you're 7 years old, it's you can manipulate them, and then you have the thing that they act out, like when if you whoop a child, like their solution, like when they come across the reason why, like you whooped them, if they're in a social group like in school and somebody does something like, oh well, they're stressing me out, they're aggravating me, or they talk too much, that's one of the main things that aggravate them, a motherfucker, talking, a dog barking, a baby crying, anything or somebody else is expressing that their wants or needs, and not focusing on that one person individual. Like a 6-year-old thinks the whole world revolves around him. So they get them to think. So anyway, if they're hitting, so they'll think that hitting is the way to communicate. And then sexual abuse, you have it's more noticeable how kids act out in the younger ages, like the 6, 7, or 8, where after, because their hormones and the development for them to have an orgasm or for them to actually, for it to be the same as a grown-up sex, it just hasn't developed yet, and so they do act out, and it comes off. So when they're teenage girls and they get overly sexed, you also, instead of saying, oh, they act out all at once, you're going to treat them like they're the responsible adult. You know what I'm saying? And they're acting out, like if a girl gets, and it's a good way to and it's a good way for, and that is a good way to introduce them to prostitution. because they think this is the way it's always been. There's no other solution, at this young age, because they don't know nothing else. They just know, a rape society and abusive society. So, we have a major problem, and first, we all need our communications. We're not an island to ourselves. But I think there are some things that we should think about when it comes to our children, and think that, why are we doing this? Are we being manipulated by the propaganda of the media? Yes. By all the purposes from all that I can read and all that I've listened to, and just understanding that it is a marketing thing, and their whole thing is trying to sell you, and a lot of our politics, and is geared to our corporations, or they're thinking like they're their God, because you have to go to them. More like an abusive, alcoholic, junkie mother. It's really more like what the corporations are like, not like a God, But, and I think that's where we're at in America now. I mean, they were able to market breast as something that is not acceptable for feeding children, but is very acceptable for men to throw money at a later bar. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're exposed to titties all day long, and it just becomes like looking at somebody's foot, and some people have foot fetish, some people don't. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. Some people like apples, some people like pears. You got the few that like apples and pears. So anyway, you know what I mean? But it's a marketing thing. Selling bottles, selling formula, gurgle baby food. We've been, I don't know who was out there, the dogs are real mad. They're so abusive, they're so abusive. And there was a possum out there last night that Polly was messing with. Anyway, I'm inside. I digress. But going back, the media does control the mind, and it's marketed for you to want something like the iPod, to want another cell phone, to want the new skinny jeans, to want the straight, shiny hair, so you have to use their hair products, and I think the results is what we have. Well, so one of the studies I was reading, I think Anna Freud. Anyway, it turned out that what they were doing, they had decided was a failure. But you have to imagine, after World War II, they went into making money. But it was all in, they used to have, they started the where they had children in for tasting stuff. They started all the different studies on how to market, how to get people to gotta have this. And I've been caught up with, not really. Like, I remember with the Cabbage Patch doll, I thought it was an extremely ugly doll. I had heard rumors that the guy that did the Cabbage Patch, stole the idea from a woman. Even if you did steal the idea from a woman and you end up making millions of dollars with your marketing scheme, you would think that we would still have a little human in us, and that he would just give her some type of gesture. But once you start getting money and you find out it's easy, it multiplies, and then you find out there's people around and they're marketed to stay poor that way. Oh, they got money, so so they marketed to steal, whatever. And all this is a vicious cycle. And I think once you get caught up in the capitalist game to where we're no longer really one with the land when it comes to understanding our place in humanity with the mammals, with the connection with our food that comes from the ground, and how even our health is being marketed in such a way. to where, and like I noticed it like with investigating police. You know, first I was supposed to have they were having commercials about shingles. I have poison ivy and poison oak, so I had poison ivy and poison oak. So they were like, "Oh, she got shingles." Fine. Yeah, I don't correct nobody. I'm like, "Oh, does she now?" Stupid. And I just but I'll point out like, yeah, like don't touch over there. That's poison ivy. You know, cause like you can't argue with. Oh my God, it's like you can't argue with a fool. They're like fools. I don't know if fool's the right word, but it's like ignorant. And then like anyway I went up to one of the little clinics right over here that one time, and like the doctor just comes right in there. You don't have shingles, you don't have diabetes, you don't have this, and you don't have that. I'm like, yeah, I don't know why the fuck you try to get your diagnosis from fucking motherfucking policeman anyway. I'm like, no, I have high blood pressure. So like really, I guess in the policeman mind, reason probably it's not like because my dad died of high blood pressure and I had a grandma that had a stroke and died of high blood pressure, and on both sides of my dad's and my mom's, they have, high blood pressure. It has nothing to do with that history. It has everything to do with they think I'm a crack motherfucker hoe. Which, again, my shoes ain't underneath their mama's bed. My shoes ain't never been on their motherfucker bed. I don't give a fuck about anything about them whatsoever, except for you're costing me money. You're causing my fucking telephone not to work, which is probably they think that's funny because like I was supposed to get I can get those free phones all day long. It's just that the phone people, they send me a phone, and I guess there's so much interference in this area. They have to give me had to send me another phone where it could work in this area because of the way the police. I guess they would like to listen into the cells or something because it's a hot drug area. Waste of taxpayer money. It really is. But at least the way they do it. Because like if they have so many people, so many policemen, let me tell you, when I walked from like here to like I walked like a little 3 miles, right? Okay. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I must have went past 15 crack houses. Dealers. Combination problems. So you could throw a fucking rock and find a dope dealer around here. Because that's what you're producing. And the propaganda is to punish the victim, or make somebody so angry that they will do something violent. I figure I could aggravate somebody enough that they'll do it. Like when I was in Dallas, I saw what the apartment building that I was at, they was fucking with me, and I know they was working on the water, and I found out all the water was coming from this one pump, and that they were pumping the water all uphill, right? So I was like, water don't run uphill, gravity will rule. Because I know that if they just bought that apartment building and it had a electric and a water problem, it's two major things that would make somebody sell something, because it could be real expensive, right? And I know that if you got all your water pumping out of one place that's downhill, pumping uphill, that's putting a lot of stress on the thing. They're going through the pipeline. I know it's the motor, just needs to be replaced. That whole thing. I just, I'm just following the laws of physics, So anyway, they thought I had something to do with it and I never touched it. I just knew that that's going to happen. They're going to call me a crack hole. I'm like, okay, a crack hole, but gravity rules, and it did. So, and that's what's going to happen with the United States. Nature's gonna rule. So anyway, we got a fucked up a situation with our kids. It's very sad. And then to have to be around them as when they're as adults is very humiliating to know that our country is pumping out such inferior type of folks. Oh hey. sad.